time right now is 8:04. A controversy involving Commanders quarterback Jayden Daniels and his former college team is getting a lot of attention ahead of the NFL season. Daniels' team sent LSU a cease-and-desist letter over the school's decision to give his former number 5, to another player currently playing for LSU. Joining us now is the Athletics senior college football writer, Matt Baker. Matt, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Sure, thanks for having me.
So let's start with the big picture here. What exactly is at the center of this dispute between Daniels and LSU? What's he really upset about?
So I think there's two components here. One is the jersey number. Jayden Daniels won the Heisman at LSU, and typically in a situation like that, his jersey might be retired. Usually there's about a 5-year grace period before that type of thing happens. And even if a jersey is retired, that doesn't mean it won't be worn again. Because look, there's 105 guys on a college football roster. The numbers are 0 to 99. You've got to double up anyway. So at a certain point, it gets really hard if you're retiring a bunch of numbers and completely taking them out of use. The other component to this is Jayden's NIL, so his name, image, and likeness. And that's really, I think, the potentially bigger question here that could have a lot of ramifications across the sport. What right does LSU have to use his name, image, and likeness in things? Certainly his name can appear in the archives and the record books. How long can they keep selling his jersey afterward? There's all sorts of group licensing things. That's a very complicated thing, but that's the other kind of component to this.
Yeah, it seems pretty complex here. I mean, LSU is saying right now DJ Pickett, who was promised number 5 during recruiting, how much does that factor into this dispute?
Well, that factors a lot into it. The fact is that right now college athletes are being paid directly by schools. Whether they're employees or not is a really, really complicated, tricky situation. But because there is some sort of money going back and forth, and if DJ Pickett was promised that number, as people say he was, that's an inducement for him to go to that school. If it's an inducement, if it's a contractual inducement, then you come into some really complicated situations. What if DJ isn't given what he was offered? What sort of recourse does he have, right? So there's so many sides to this, which we can make fun of all the jokes and the memes and public opinion and all this stuff, but this is it sounds really silly, but it's a really complicated thing.
Right. So what happens next here? Because, with the complexity of this, with DJ Pickett promised that number and Daniels sending that cease and desist, I mean, what does this mean about what's next in this dispute?
Well, I would be stunned if DJ Pickett isn't wearing number 5 this year. I think the question going forward is at what point is Jayden's number taken out of circulation, if at all? And then there's the potential legal consequences here, right? A cease and desist letter for LSU to stop using his name, image, and likeness. First of all, what does that exactly mean? What is okay? What is not? You can talk to different lawyers and they're going to tell you different things on archives are okay, selling jerseys aren't, but what if there's a group licensing deal? What about a sculpture or a little plaque in front of the stadium, right? So at some point, you would hope that Jayden's people and LSU come together, figure out some real terms on what makes sense and what doesn't. But again, there's a lot of different ways that this can go.
Matt, we've all seen the memes. I know you briefly mentioned them there. We've all seen the memes kind of making fun of Jayden Daniels and this whole dispute. What impact does, the court of public opinion really have on all of this? And what do you see coming down the pipeline next?
Yeah, that's really one of the biggest questions here. So what is Jayden getting out of this at the end of the day? Maybe he does get some sort of new deal with LSU, where if they continue to use his name and his pictures in recruiting pamphlets and things like that, graphics, maybe he gets some more money out of it. That's one possibility. But yeah, you have to look at what has this done to his image, to his brand. I think there's a public perception, fair or not, that this is making him look really petty. I certainly wonder what it does to his legacy and reputation at LSU, right? He had 2 excellent years there, won the Heisman, but he didn't win the national championship. He's not, I don't think, on the Mount Rushmore of LSU players. So he had a short time there anyway, a high, but not the highest of highs. So then what does this do for the people who remember him playing and are going to remember him 5 years, 10, 20 years down the road whenever his NFL career ends?
Yeah, a lot more to come. As you said, a really complex conversation. Matt, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.